We are live. Welcome in this morning, AYS fans. As it looks like we are, let me fix this. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Looks like Spectrum is acting Rudy Poo this morning. Let me fix it. All right. Looks like you got better quality now. Okay. Had to fix the service this morning. But a good morning nevertheless for LSU fans and the Louisiana faithful. Nevertheless, always a very, very good day. I do not know what's going on with the internet. We'll see. We'll see. We'll just have to go through it. Let me see what it's like on your guys' side. It literally just started acting up on me as soon as I went live. So of course it did. Of course it did. All right. We'll try to get through it. I hope it's okay on everybody on your side. But we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully it's okay. Pooh Bear says vid showing on a delay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to fix that currently. Hopefully it gets a little bit better. We're trying to fix it. There we go. Okay. Always some technical difficulties on a cold morning. The Spectrum does not like the cold weather. It does not like the cold weather. So we do got a lot to get into this morning. If it's your first time joining an AYS morning show, do us a favor. We try to get to as many comments as we can on the morning show. I'm going to have to undo Twitter. There we go. I'm just going to have to undo Twitter. It stinks, but we don't really have a choice. If you're watching this on Twitter, I'm sorry. Get on over to YouTube or Facebook and watch the show from there. But we try to get to as many comments as we can this morning. We try to do as best as we can this morning, but hopefully the internet stays intact. So we'll go from there. Just want to say that, guys, mobile sports betting is live inside the state of Louisiana. I've told you a lot about BetOnline, betonline.ag. Use the Believe 50 AYS podcast tab. Get a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. You deposit $100, they will give you $50 right off the top. It's betonline.ag. Betonline.ag. Okay. So we'll try to just muscle through this. Do us a favor, everyone, too. Hit the like and share. Share to some Facebook groups if you're on Facebook. Share to your social media pages. If you are on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe as well, as we are about 50 subscribers away from hitting that 3,000 mark and the $300 gift card giveaway, powered by our good friend Carol Foss over at State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call Carol today at 985-395-4300. That's 985-395-4300. So everybody hit the like button, share, listen to us on the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe there as well. Do it for us. Everybody share. So, all right, let's get into it. We got a lot to get into. I see a lot of comments flying in. Jack Davis says BK, the damn king, doing the damn thing. He's not with the BSery. Yeah, I saw. I mean, look, last night, if you missed it, God dog it, this stupid internet. Last night, if you missed it, tight end or 3 or 4 star Danny Lewis Jr., the tight end from Westgate, Louisiana, or Westgate High School, posted a video of Brian Kelly dancing. I don't know if you saw it, but it went viral. I'm sure a lot of people have already seen it by now. It kind of went all over the place, and people were making fun of Brian Kelly and about what he's doing and what he's been, I really don't understand why people are so upset with it. Like, I legitimately don't understand why people were so mad at Brian Kelly. Look, I'm going to say this personally. I do not care what Brian Kelly does if he's getting top-tier recruits and top-tier athletes. I could care less, could legitimately care less what he's doing. If Danny, and the fact is that LSU didn't post that. Danny Lewis Jr. did, the tight end recruit that LSU's trying to get. He was the one who thought it was good enough and wanted to be around Brian Kelly enough to post that video. So I don't really understand what people are so upset about. Oh, Brian Kelly doing this, Brian Kelly doing that. It got over $4 million views. Lane Kiffin's freaking out. You know, like Lane Kiffin's on Twitter making fun of Brian Kelly dancing. Now, you could go to YouTube and watch Lane Kiffin dancing, too, when he was at USC. They've got all these white dudes in the middle of the USC locker room going, go Kiffin, go Kiffin, go Kiffin. And he's doing this. I mean, just because Lane is mad that he didn't get an interview with LSU doesn't mean that he's got to be upset about it. Okay. I'm trying to fix the internet as best I can. There's really nothing I can do. I mean, Spectrum is just being shitty as always. So, of course, Spectrum's always doing what they're doing. They're going to continue to be a crappy service. So if you're having delay issues, there's not a lot I can do. Stefan says new crib. Who dis? No, we were in the same crib. We just, we did an addition, and we're doing we're just doing a lot of different things around our house, and bought it, and it was the house that my wife and my wife lived in. We did an addition. We doubled that square footage, and so she's happy. I'm happy. If she's happy, I'm happy. Everybody says it's good on their end. All right, that sounds good. Well, we'll just have to muster through. If it stinks, it stinks. There's not a lot I can do about it. Kelly sends him some stars via Facebook. I appreciate that. David says, what you believe is LSU's chances landing Arch Manning? I don't really have any percentage or any thought or any really anything about Arch Manning. I mean, the only thing that I know is that there was, a stare down between coaches at a basketball game a couple of weeks ago. But I don't, I do know that the coaching staff at Newman was apparently pretty impressed by Brian Kelly and what he did and how he was. And, they hadn't really been around him before. So what's crazy about that is, the Mannings, the coaches at Isidore Newman are not going to say that if the Mannings aren't really impressed with Brian Kelly as well. So we'll see. Pooh Bear says, shout out to Coach Brian Polian for fully immersing himself into the quote unquote culture that is Louisiana. Absolutely he is. Absolutely he is. He's doing everything, he's asking people what to do. He's going to all the, places that people tell him to do. He's, hey, what should I do here? We're going to have to hook my boy up with a crawfish boil. I'll do some things if he wants to do it. I'll try to set that up, but I'm sure he'll have crawfish before I could even get to him if they haven't done so already. Jeremy Marshall said, family not going to let that happen. If you're talking about Arch, I don't disagree with you there. Danny Girl says, heck yeah, Pooh Bear, loving Bud engagement with the fans. Yeah, I love his engagement with the fans too. Derek says, don't need Arch. Well, you can always use a quarterback. Jacob Cole says, last episode in the 300s. Congrats in advance, Blake. Keep up the fantastic work. Yep, this is our last episode in the 300s. As we are going to be doing episode 400 Monday night. Hopefully the internet is working by then. But there's just not a lot I can do at this point. So apparently they just don't like the cold. Brett Crow says Lane Kiffin making I'm not going to say that word, a joke of himself trying to troll B. Kelly and Brian Kelly. I agree. I mean, but he does that to everybody. And Lane's more than likely upset that that he didn't even get an interview for LSU. He's always trolling people. And why he does stuff like that, why he continues to do stuff like that, I really just don't know why he does stuff like that. It's idiotic. But, Lane Kiffin's going to Lane Kiffin at this point. So I don't really have anything for Lane Kiffin. I told you guys during the coaching search that I didn't really have a lot for Lane Kiffin. He's too damn childish, man. C. King says the kids love it, and that's all that counts. Heck yeah! Talking about the Danny Lewis dancing video. Look, if that helps for whatever reason, if that helps Danny Lewis commit to LSU when you need tight ends, I don't care if he's doing the Yule Superman up in that thing. I don't care what he's doing. Could care less. You shouldn't worry about that either. I see a lot of people asking about the recruiting. We can get to that. Let's get to a couple more comments, and when we get to a comment, we'll get to it. Ricky says, I like BK connecting with the recruits. Yep. Everybody do us a favor since we had some problems this morning. Hit that like button and share to some Facebook groups, share to, subscribe on YouTube, all that. We greatly appreciate it. Dwayne Nunez says BK know how to increase kid followers NIL. Didn't think about it like that. Danny, you bring up an interesting point. I didn't even really think about it like that. It's an interesting point. Harold Wood says most of it's Notre Dame people starting the negative BK stuff. I agree with that. I agree with that. And look, we can talk about the recruiting stuff this weekend and what I've already heard. Look, I do hear it's going well though. Going to Topgolf last night, guys getting in. Harold Perkins. The way that I understand it from somebody on staff is Harold Perkins brought a lot of family members to his visit this weekend. Now, for whatever reason, the Perkins family is getting upset about people reporting about what Harold Perkins is doing. But with all due respect to mama, daddy, uncles, whatever, that's kind of how this game works. If you are upset about what people are talking about in what Harold's doing in recruiting, then what do you think it's going to be like when he goes up against, let's just say he comes to LSU and he goes up against Alabama and he misses a sack or he misses a tackle? You better prepare yourself. So regardless, they did bring a lot of family members that wasn't on the visit at Florida. And look, they got a lot of family members here. You want them to be able to interact with LSU and their staff and all that kind of stuff. Look, Jacoby Matthews, I feel better about Jacoby Matthews than probably over the last couple of days than I had because of him being on campus and LSU being able to close and Frank Wilson and Brian Kelly and Kerry Cooks. And I hear some things that, maybe there's a chance that they maybe have a second to talk to Matt House. Who knows? But I do hear some things. So we'll see there. But I do think at the end of the day, you're going to get a couple of those kids. I don't know if LSU goes on a clean sweep with Javonte Citizen in there or Danny Lewis. I feel a little bit more comfortable about Danny Lewis than I did. the tight end out of Westgate. And look, we talked about this last night, and we got to cut these Twitter spaces shorter than what we've been doing them because I got to be honest, I'm exhausted. But I think Danny Lewis, per a need perspective, meaning what LSU needs is a tight end. They don't necessarily need another linebacker, right? LSU needs a tight end. They don't necessarily need another running back, but they do need a tight end. So I think that from a depth perspective, you do need Danny Lewis more than any of these recruits from that depth perspective. Guys, you got Cole Taylor, Jack Mashburn, and Mason Taylor. It's not a good place to be in. Again, does not mean that LSU can't rally and do something in the portal or whatever to something of extent, but Danny Lewis, from a need perspective, is the biggest. Now, you can make the argument second could be safety with Jacoby Matthews. I don't disagree with you there. Ryan Guidry says, word is Matthews and Perkins will sign at the same school, just a rumor. Yeah, there's always rumors like that flying around, but I don't ever really remember a package deal outside of some brothers and twins. You know, we'll see. We'll see with that. Maybe they do want to play with one another, and that's fine if they do, and I don't mind it. But if they do you trust Harold Perkins to sign with LSU? Creole King says, same coaches backdoor paying players have a problem with BK dancing. Make it make sense. We talked about this on the Twitter Spaces last night with a guy, a Texas A&M fan who came into the Twitter Spaces, and he was talking about Jimbo Fisher, right? He was talking about, Brian Kelly this, Brian Kelly that. When you got Jimbo Fisher's ball-headed scallywag self running out on the Paul Feinbaum show, talking about paying players before NIL was even a thing. Nope. And you know what's even funny about that part is A&M needs to worry about what A&M's doing. You got a former associate AD for Texas A&M saying that the $30 million that their boosters are saying that they raised isn't true. How does that work? We talked about that too. That $30 million thing is bullshit. It's bullshit. Harold Wood says, I can't hang with y'all on Twitter Spaces. I can't hang with my damn self. I'm telling y'all right now, I can't keep doing it like that. Not that long. We gotta change some things up. William Brent says, love it, Blake. Harold says, Lane wish he was coaching LSU. Yep. Dorian says, get AT&T, brother. They don't come out here. They don't come out after the storm. They said, nope, no, we're not coming out here. Jamar Jackson says, Blake, just have people that if you're not complaining, then they're not happy. I agree with that. So, Blaine Spitz says Spectrum is going to Spectrum. Yep, they're completely. I test our internet every time before I go live, and it was perfect. And I don't know, man. We'll be all right. Chris says they don't get it that BK is trolling all the people who said he can't recruit down here. There is some level to that. I don't care that Brian Kelly is doing this like he's in the disco in the 1970s or 1980s, whenever the disco was alive. I could care less. Holden Lee says Brady Quinn want to talk crap about the video, but funny thing is that video lasted longer than his NFL career. I didn't see what Brady Quinn said. What did Brady Quinn say? I'm going to tell you, I don't like him at all either. He's a pompous ass. Brady Quinn said, WTF is this? I feel bad for the players. So awkward. He posted it. Brady Quinn, the recruit, is the one that posted the video. Brian Kelly had nothing to do with that video. See, that this is the problem with Brady Quinn. This is multiple times that he's talked about Brian Kelly and not had all the facts. Newsflash, Big Daddy. You're on a national stage. We're covering college football nationally for Fox. You need to get all of your facts in line before you talk crap. The truth is you're upset that he's gone. And I get this is so awkward for the recruit. No, it's awkward for a guy like you, a preppy school little boy. It's awkward for someone like you. But when Danny Lewis commits and he comes to LSU and LSU continues to win national titles because you can't even come close to winning it. The last time you played a collegiate game, LSU whipped up on your ass. Then what? You were never that good, bro. You were never that good. Already aggravated because of Spectrum. Now Brady Quinn got my blood pressure boiling. Brady Quinn's was ass. C. King said he heard that the proximity to home is going to help with the Lewises. It's huge. Lee Treg says on Facebook, is running back Noah Kane on campus? No, I think he's got to, and I need to check on that because everybody keeps asking, but no, I think he's going to finish the semester, and I think he's here this weekend too. I think he's going to finish the semester at Penn State to graduate, and then he'll be down. That's the way that I understood it. Now, somebody in here, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah. Well, we do have the Big 12 SEC battle this weekend in basketball. And look, even the mobile sports betting. Did any of you guys bet? Tell me if y'all betted using your mobile phone yesterday. If you did, let me know what you bet. If you win or lost, it doesn't matter if you lose. I'd put you up here if you lost more because look, you're going to lose a lot when you start sports gambling. I did a little parlay last night and bet it on 3 NBA games, and everybody's like, "Oh, Blake, will you bet the favorites?" That's the point. That's the point. The winning is the point. How you talking about? Gerald says, I think the Twitter spaces are too close together. I'm a sports nut, but 4 or 5 times a week, everything starts getting overlapped. Yeah, I'm talking about the time. I'll hop in. I mean, I might just do 1 or 2 a week, but man, I can't go that long. I can't go from 9 o'clock to 12 in the morning. I can't do that. Those days for me are over. Holden Lee says you kind of broke up a bit. Did you say they having second thoughts on Matt House? I never said that. No. If I broke up, then that's my fault. No, I said they might talk to Matt House this weekend. So if I broke up, that's my bad. Carl Dunn says, to me, it's just like Perkins got a lot of handlers. Handlers bring headaches. Well, I mean, Carl, you're not wrong, but I don't think that. I mean, sometimes you just got to play that game, man. Aaron Adams Jr. says, man, I need to stop falling asleep and listening to Spaces. Yeah, it got intense last night. Me and Carter the Power Bryant got in. I say into it. I love Carter to death. He's a good friend of mine. We're never going to stop being friends. I love that dude like a brother. Seriously, I do. But we had an epic debate last night that went over for well over an hour. And they're making me defend Bryce Young, the quarterback of Alabama, which made me feel gross to defend an Alabama player. But let me say this: if you're the quarterback for any team is the most important individual, and when it comes to a Heisman Trophy, when it comes to whatever, guys, when you have someone like Bryce Young or Joe Burrow or Mac Jones or Tua Tagovailoa or Trevor Lawrence or Deshaun Watson or Kyler Murray or whoever doing what they do at that high of a level, in college, or even when they turn into the pros, Justin Herbert, Tom Brady, whoever, Drew Brees. What did the Saints look like when Drew Brees went down and didn't play at all this season? I mean, when you don't have stability at that position, it hurts. It hurts. Alvin Landry says the Twitter space last night was 25 deep at 4 a.m. Jesus Christ. I can't do it, bro. Reed Wilson says on YouTube, dude, anything Louisiana, it's a problem with the world. I'm 100% with Nick Diaz when he said that they think that they're above Louisiana and think you're slow and dumb and a problem, period. Well, Brady Quinn's dumbass has problems like that with a lot of people. I mean, look, I don't, you know, I don't have a lot of time for people like that. But here's the problem. Here's what I don't necessarily have time for, if we're being dead ass honest. What I don't have time for is when you're a part of the media and you're a part of college game day, so to speak, and you're part of doing things and you don't do your own damn research. That's the problem that I have. Let me give an example. People talked about with me about this Texas A&M and $30 million thing. Remember how we had been talking about for such a long time about, I just said that there's nobody I talked to who talked about it being real and realistic. And then On3, the recruiting service, spoke with a former and a guy that does a lot around Texas A&M, athletic director, and said that that's just bullshit. Guys, when I run out here, if you ever want to do a podcast or be a part of media, you can't run stuff and come out here and talk about Rudy Pugas. You know, the funny thing about this LSU media market who says that I do this, I take this info here, I take that info there. Guys, I'm on the air more than you ever could be. I'm putting myself more on the line than you ever could. Do you think that I can take and store info down in my brain and run out here and do it? No, because there are times where I talk about stuff before you do and it comes true, then you talk about it, and vice versa, because later you might have something that I ultimately hear. But guys like Brady Quinn who think that the only reason that they're on there is because they have really good jawline and good hair, and he played a little bit of quarterback, doesn't mean shit to me. Brent sends us some stars via Facebook. Thank you, Brent. I appreciate that. And look, somebody sent us some Dylan Lejeune sent us some money via Venmo. I appreciate, guys. I really do appreciate when y'all do that. I really appreciate when y'all do that, because I don't ask you guys for money, and I don't want you to give money for what we do. That's just me. I'm building what I want to build. Maybe one day we get a website, we do some stuff like that, we do some content, whatever. But as of right now, I'm not making you pay me. But when you do stuff like this and you send us stars, you send us super chats and stuff like that, it really does go a long way for me. I really appreciate it. Tony says people still butthurt over BK. Shaking my head. Didn't Notre Dame get a promising new head coach? They did. Harold Wood says, I understand the same thing on Noah Kane. He's down here on a visit. Yeah, the way that I understand it, and C. King says the same. He's down here on a visit, but he's going to finish at Penn State to graduate. Now, did y'all know this about Noah Kane? His dad was in the armed services. If I'm getting this right, his dad was in the armed services, and on senior day, Noah Kane ran out the tunnel with American flag and gave it to his dad. Did y'all see that? Did y'all see that? That's pretty amazing, man. I mean, his dad serving serving our country. Brent back on Facebook says since Caleb Williams didn't enroll at USC yesterday, does LSU have a good chance to land him? If we do, Caleb will be contenders next year. Let me say that he's still technically enrolled at Oklahoma. He's still technically enrolled at Oklahoma. So, I mean, he can finish this semester at Oklahoma and qualify to transfer during the summer. Just during the transfer portal doesn't mean that he's not taking classes at Oklahoma and can take classes online and qualify. So what if Caleb Williams qualifies while still being enrolled at Oklahoma? In reference to the USC thing, man, I really don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if he knows where he's going, and I think it's going to be a higher bidder thing. Look, and here's another thing too. What everybody keeps talking about Wisconsin, but why isn't he committed anywhere? I think that they're playing the game. I'll tell you this, though. The longer that they play the game, the worse it gets for Caleb Williams. Juice Washington on Facebook says, #AskBlake, have you noticed all the O-linemen that BK is offering? We're building up from the trenches, baby. I did, and I also noticed the body types that they are, too. Taller, lean, muscular-looking offensive linemen. Very tall and lean. Holden Lee coming with some breaking news here. But from Tiger Droppings. So let's prepare ourselves for the Tiger Droppings news of the day. Tiger Droppings just reported Eason and Days are starting today. Well, Tiger Droppings, if it's on their personal website, they don't ever break news. They go based off of what other people say. But they need them. They need them. I don't know about Pinson. The Tiger Droppings news of the day segment. What if we did a Tiger Droppings news of the day segment? We might do that. What is your Tiger Droppings news of the day? Bailey Jones says Brian Kelly is a great coach. Conley on Facebook says, I'm CBJ on Twitter. That Twitter Spaces lasted until 5 a.m. Jesus Christ. Guys, I don't know how y'all do that. Chance Rogers says, #AskBlake, how do we listen to a Twitter Space over again? I think the Tigers Avenue podcast did it, and I think they recorded it. All you got to do is play recording. Jacob Cole says, had to plug Brady Quinn's name into Google to remind myself who that is. Yeah, and he's on the like Fox Game Day with Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush and all of that. But those West Cal those West Cal guys, those Rudy Poos, yeah. Brian Viator says, congratulations, Blake, on number 400. Well deserved. Can't wait till 7 p.m. Monday evening. Yeah, we did the event too. We try to invite as many people as we could to that. So be there Monday. I'm gonna try to line up some pretty good guests. Maybe than what we do before, because I really don't like bringing on guests that well, I don't know how to say that. Look, I want to talk about this parlay too that I think I'm thinking about doing. I don't know if and the Tigers played 11 too. I don't know if I'm going LSU with the TCU. We'll see there. Maybe I'll do it. I'm really liking that Auburn money line. I'm really liking that Auburn game. I might get some. I might put LSU in there, but man, I hate betting LSU. I get too I don't even know what the word is. Dorian says on Facebook, Quinn is a pretty boy with a sense of entitlement. He can get, Father Matthew Christopher Abear. What's up, Father Abear? He says, morning, Blake, into the Rudy crew. The video with BK and Danny Lewis was, of course, kind of cringy. But you got to think of this. Lewis is going to do something like that. He's feeling good about signing the dotted line. My buddy C. King said that last night in Twitter Spaces, and I agree with him. And again, that comes from the recruit. Guys, recruits like stuff like that. They like stuff like that. Terry Hilton says, will BK hit a home run Wednesday? Well, look, if he gets a couple of these guys in here, I mean, if he gets Jacoby Matthews, Perkins, or he gets Jacoby Matthews, Danny Lewis, Javante Citizen, if he does get 2 or 3 of those guys, I think that it's a home run. Because, and here's the reason why it's a home run for Brian Kelly, if he's able to get 2 or 3 of those guys. That means that you're number 1 in the transfer portal in most services. Now, I don't really care for the rankings, but because fans can see it and how relative it is, it usually and normally gives someone a gauge of how things went. In my personal opinion, when you go from the top 40s in recruiting, LSU then, if they are getting some, if not most of these guys, would then go into the top 10. It does solidify some things for LSU, and it does solidify some things for Brian Kelly. It also solidifies some things from Notre Dame. It solidifies for Notre Dame that they got to get better with their academic requirements. It does for Notre Dame that people don't want to go there. Look, South Bend, Indiana is not a great place to live in the sense of there's not a lot to do there. Baton Rouge, and it would show that Baton Rouge and SEC and LSU is a part of being a prestigious program. When you have an elite head coach that's done what Brian Kelly has done at an establishment like Notre Dame, why do you think David Shaw is not doing it at Stanford? Why do you think Vandy sucks at football a lot of times? The reason they have success in baseball is a completely different deal as to why. But a lot of academic programs struggle because of the academic requirements. Guys, I'm a normal human being. And at least I think that I am. I'm not a rocket scientist. I mean, I have my pros and I have my cons, just like a lot of you. I'm not getting into Stanford. I'm not getting into Notre Dame. I'm not getting into Vanderbilt. I'm not getting into a lot of these establishments. Maybe I could. I don't know that, but it would be different for me to try to get in there than most. With that being said, on all of it, we'll see. LSU does need a win here today against TCU. They need to get back on track and get some wins. These wins will pile up for you when it comes to March. Yeah, I see some people firing in here about Jay Johnson in baseball. I liked it. I like listening to Jay Johnson speak. Carl Dunn says, get Memphis on the number 400 show Monday. I'll try. I'll ask him. A lot of people want to have him on. And I love Memphis too. Todd Boudreaux says, bring Jeremy Hill on. He has a good grasp of what's going on behind the scenes. I'll ask Jay Hilly. We'll see what's going on there. Robert Plaisant says, get Sergio on Monday's show. I'm not ever bringing that dude on here. I'm not ever bringing that dude on here. Harold Wood says, I need Danny Lewis and Matthews. Perkins would be a cherry on top. I'm right there with you. And look, I heard some good things last night. I heard some really good things about last night. I think there's something to be said for Orgeron and Orgeron's legacy if Brian Kelly pulls it off. I did hear some good things about last night. So, mm. Guys, I'm sorry. This stupid internet's doing what it's doing. Stupid ass shit. Danny Girl sends us $9.99 via super chat. She says, last night on Spaces about Heisman, you made a good point. The only people that touch the ball every play is the center and the quarterback. So why doesn't LSU put more emphasis on a true center, not a player turned into center? Because Danny, and I think it's a really good question that you ask there. I think that the problem there is there's not in America a lot of true centers. A lot of guys had to be moved there, meaning, and a lot of high school teams don't put their best offensive lineman at center either. They normally, those guys that are normally 6'2", 6'3", or above are never going to play center. For that alone, it's a problem. Come here. What happened? Okay. Well, the internet's not working, buddy. Look, maybe you can bring Daddy some help. See, what happens is when the cold comes up, the internet really stinks. Miss Danny sent us some money via super chat. Can you give her a hello? Say thank you. No, but it's not outside. Outside. Cold outside. It's cold outside? Yeah. Hey, you slept late this morning, man. What was that about? Because it was cold outside? Okay. Can I have a kiss? Mwah. For everybody that doesn't know, that's my son, Benjamin. Holden Lee says, boy, he was fussing. Look, that boy does not like the cold at all. Dude, you know what trips me out is he'll go outside though, and he'll hit the ball off the tee for an hour straight. He's 2. It trips me out. I'm like, are you okay, buddy? But all of his little cousins and look, we're a big baseball family. My uncle's been a head coach for a long time. My cousin Clay, my cousin Evan, my grandfather was a head baseball coach, won a couple state titles. I mean, we're a big baseball family, but that kid can't get enough of it. Look, and I watch. You guys know I watch football more religiously than anybody. But if there's baseball on TV, he'll sit there and watch for about an hour. It's kind of freaky, man. It's kind of freaky. But anyway, it's cold outside. Justin says, do you have an idea about Trevante Citizen? Man, I really don't. I really don't. I talked to a couple of my guys at Florida. No, I don't. I really, really don't. Parnell Gordon says, I love it. Gerald says LSU. That's Ben's favorite thing. Colin says, good morning, little tiger. Craig Schilling says, don't get naked Jaybird started using them big daddy words about Spectrum. Well, true. Craig, very true. Jim James says, probably a dumb question about mobile betting question. Will airline pilots tell people on their flight that the plane is in Louisiana airspace so that bets can be made? Jimmy, I don't really know What you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Reed Wilson says, Ruffino, just give me 5 minutes with Brady Quinn. I promise you I will walk out that situation first, like Kenyon Martin told Thomas. Yeah. I mean, look, I don't respect a man that does that. I really don't. Well, look, let me say this very quickly too. Mobile sports betting, guys. I think I told you that was a big deal. A lot of people got upset with me when I talked about mobile sports betting. I understand for some it you feel a certain way about mobile sports betting. Did you know that we had multiple state legislatures yesterday say that the state of Louisiana, before a bet was ever placed in mobile sports gambling, that the state of Louisiana made $50 million due to licensing? Now, I'm just replicating what I heard. If that's not true, then don't take that out on me. But I'm just regurgitating what I heard multiple Louisiana legislatures talk about. This is very big for the state. When it comes from a taxes standpoint, you're generating serious revenue. And guys, you can bet on games. It's nothing wrong with betting $5 on a game and going and watching Joe Burrow. It's fun to do. Last night, I bet the parlay, and I put some pretty significant money down and won. And look, then I cash out, and it's fun to be able to do that. I will tell you this though: don't get addicted to that though. Don't get addicted to it, because when you start winning, shit will hit the fan. Always remember this: don't ever break the bank for one game. Now, the one game that I ever did that in my life was I drove to Mississippi and put a large chunk of my savings on LSU beating Clemson in the 2019 national championship game. And obviously we won, but I was going down with the ship. Chris Barnhill says, rake that money in Louisiana. It's great for Louisiana. Jimmy James says, thanks for asking what I mean. Say that I'm flying from Texas, no betting, to Alabama, no betting, while on a flight in the airspace of Louisiana. Can I make a bet during that time frame? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, if maybe, because it goes based off your location. But I don't know what the destination is of Marcella. Marcella, what are you trying to do here? It's like the third time you've posted that. Please don't post that in here. I don't know what you're trying to post that in here for, but stop it. I'm going to delete that comment. Stop it. Father Abel says, Coach Jay Johnson said yesterday that Trey Morgan is likely going to play in the outfield. Funny, we talked about that about 2 months ago. No, everybody said I was an idiot. This is mind-blowing. He might be one of the best first basemen I've ever seen in college football. This team is stacked. I agree, and that should tell you, Father Abear, what they believe about Cade Beloso. They got a long way to go. We'll see how they react, though. We'll see how they react. All right, well, if we had better internet, we might go a little bit longer. We'll do a little bit more, and then we'll get out of here. But this internet's driving me nuts. Tony says, I need Wi-Fi Agra. You need some Wi-Fi Agra since you're having connectile dysfunction. Never heard it like that before. It's pretty funny. Reed Wilson says, I can promise you if Danny Lewis got Brian Kelly to dance, Harold Perkins definitely will cut up. It's true. And if he posts it, so what? So what? So, all right, guys, we'll see y'all again Monday for the big episode 400. Hopefully our internet stays up and active, but we'll be chit-chatting throughout the day. We might even do episode 399 part 2 Sunday. Let me tell you this. I will go live. If Joe Burrow and them win tomorrow and beat Kansas City, we're going to be going live. I'm going to be going nuts. All right. Well, until then, guys, y'all have a good night. Y'all have a good day. Stay safe out there. Go Tigers. Game at 11 a.m. you want to bet it, go right on ahead. But don't take my advice on it. I don't know what I'm going to bet, if I'm going to even bet it. But we'll see y'all again either tomorrow if Cincinnati wins, or Monday if they don't. So we'll see y'all soon. Later, guys.